The 2024 Mustang EcoBoost. What do we know? What don't we know? Well, there's a lot we don't know, but in this video, I'm going to cover everything we know about the new 2024 Mustang EcoBoost. Let's get straight into it. Now, if you're familiar with the current gen EcoBoost Mustangs, the current variant puts out 300 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque to the crank, while your high performance package variant of the EcoBoost Mustang puts out 330 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. Now, we're hoping that from what we've heard from some of the engineers at Ford regarding the power plant of the next generation Mustang EcoBoost is there's gonna be some reworks here internally for that engine. And it's sounding pretty promising. Ford engineers have said that they have beefed up not only the pistons, the rods, and the camshaft, but they also have a few other goodies in store for us, hopefully all leading to more power for this next generation and better reliability. Because I know a lot of people have kind of problems with that. EcoBoom. However, my EcoBoost is running on E30 right now and almost full bolt-on. No issues thus far, so I might be on borrowed time or maybe just cross your fingers, but a lot of people have had some reliability issues with the current gen. Hopefully some of these upgrades in this next gen fix some of those problems. Another cool feature on this next gen engine is this one's actually going to be direct injected and port injected, which is pretty cool. That's going to cut down on the carbon buildup that these engines are kind of known for. So that's going to be a huge plus moving forward into that next generation, as well as we might see more kind of tunability for added power in the future without running auxiliary fuel setups. You know, maybe the injectors are better than with that as well. So there's some perks aside from the carbon buildup, but that's kind of a nice little kind of perk that we're going to get with this next gen EcoBoost. We also have confirmed that there is a redesigned turbocharger and electronic wastegate on that new engine as well, which hopefully will flatten out that torque curve a little bit and allow for more torque, more power to pull throughout the entire RPM range. Because if you're not familiar already, stock EcoBoost, they tend to fall off at about 5,500 RPM. Even when tuned, you know, you solve most of those issues with a 93 tune or an E30 tune, but you're still limited with the small turbo. So I'll be interested to see what we actually get for specs on that turbocharger and that electronically controlled wastegate. I'm not sure though if that electronically controlled wastegate will be a plus or a minus for the aftermarket part support. I guess we're just gonna have to see. So far, Ford has not given us specific horsepower figures for this next gen EcoBoost. The only thing they've said in regards to the transmission is going to disappoint a lot of you manual lovers out there, because unfortunately in this next generation EcoBoost Mustang, the manual is no longer an option. You're gonna have to stick with the 10-speed automatic or no speeds, unfortunately. But at least you'll be able to still choose your gears with the paddle shifters in the 10-speed auto. Honestly, if I'd have to guess with the improvements that Ford has said is going to be on this next-gen EcoBoost, I would think we'd have to be in the ballpark of about 350 horsepower, maybe 380 foot-pounds of torque, from the factory, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of tuning support for this thing. That's where I think that the power figure will be. Unfortunately, like I said, we have not had confirmation from Ford yet on what the exact power figures will be. Hopefully we find that out. I'm guessing into the early quarter here of the new year, maybe spring. That's probably when we're gonna get some exact power figures. But with what they've said they've improved, I think it's gonna be pretty good. The biggest factor that people are gonna face, not only with the EcoBoost, but with the GT and the Dark Horse as well, is that unfortunately, these ECUs are going to be locked, which they are primarily every new generation, but aftermarket performance teams, they are, you know, like Cobb, I'm sure, and, you know, your PD tunings, your Tune Pluses for the EcoBoost lineup as well. They're going to be hard at work to cracking these ECUs and allowing for aftermarket tunes. But unfortunately, Ford has said that they've made it quite a bit harder to do so, and it's going to be a tough one to crack, I'm sure. So when you first get these cars, you're not going to really have the support for aftermarket tunes, but rest easy. I know it'll happen. A lot of people kind of freak out about that, and they're like, you're not going to be able to mod these cars. The ECUs are locked. But guys, give it a little bit of time once these cars are out, and I guarantee you these aftermarket companies are going to crack the code, and you'll have tunes available for this thing before you know it. Now, we've talked about the performance of the engine a little bit, at least what we know. So there's a lot of change going on with the actual EcoBoost engine in this platform, this new generation, which is cool. But what else do we know about the car? We're gonna have to move on to cosmetics for that one. So if you're looking to distinguish the EcoBoost from the GT and the Dark Horse, one thing, we're gonna start out at the front of the vehicle. You're gonna notice the grille. The grille on the EcoBoost and the front end really as a whole is much more tame, in my opinion, than the GT is, and especially the Dark Horse. Looking straight onto the car, the first thing you're going to notice is that the upper and lower grille are both matte in color, matte black. Now if you look at the GTs, the upper grille is glossy black, the lower grille is this matte black. Same kind of design choice that they did on the S550 platform as well, which I was never a huge fan of. I thought that kind of contradicts, each other with the glossy and the black. So it's kind of nice on the EcoBoost this generation as well. You get the matte upper grille and the matte lower grille to match. Up the car a little bit onto the hood itself, you'll notice it's pretty plain up there, guys. There's not too much going on. You get a little bulge with the hood there, which is always nice, but you don't get any sort of hood vents on this one. You do, however, get those on the GT. Moving around the side, you're not going to notice that much of a difference between this EcoBoost and the GT. The only big thing is going to be the brakes. It looks like the EcoBoost is still rocking the 2 piston calipers in the front, opposed to the GT, which has 4 piston calipers, Brembo options, things like that. However, I'm sure that Ford is going to come out with a high performance or a performance pack version of the EcoBoost, allowing you to upgrade to at least the 4 piston calipers, if not Brembos, and give you some other suspension goodies as well, sway bars, springs, things like that. On the back of the vehicle, guys, it's going to look pretty much the same. You're not going to have the performance pack spoiler that they demonstrated on the GT, so there's that. I think the car, any S650 that I've seen, I think looks a lot better with the spoiler on it. I don't know if I like it without, so I think going with the S650, go for the spoiler if that's the option, for sure. I think that completes the back end nicely. As far as the interior goes, we have what looks like 2 options. You have the premium option, which gives you the massive curved display in the front. You get the leather everywhere. And then you have another option, which is the base interior. Now, the base interior was not shown off at the reveal. It wasn't showed off really anywhere besides this render right here. And it shows 2 smaller displays. It shows cloth inserts on the doors and kind of a cloth / leatherette hybrid seat. Honestly, that is a huge improvement. If that is going to be the new base in the S650 chassis, that's going to be awesome. The reason why I say that is that those base owners out there are not going to have to stare at that little tiny calculator screen on the S550 anymore. If you can at least have 2 smaller screens, I almost think that looks better than that huge display of curved glass, so to speak, that the premiums have, that they were showing off on the GT and the Dark Horse. But that's just me. Maybe I'll grow to like it over time. But yeah, it looks like we have some options, and I'm sure the customizability options, guys, are going to be the exact same on the EcoBoost as it will on the GT. For the interior anyway. So guys, that is really all we have right now. There's not a whole lot available on the new Mustang EcoBoost as far as specs goes. I'm hoping that Ford comes out with these specs sooner rather than later, and we can see what the redesign of the engine actually turns and equates out to in terms of power and torque. That's what I'm most interested in. Let me know in the comments what you guys are most interested in. If you guys are into the S650 or not, let me know down below. And if you're voting for getting an EcoBoost or a GT. I'm curious. I know we're gonna need to know more about the power they're putting out. We need to know actual specs first, because there's a lot going on with the GT specs as well. There's been rumors of only 450 horsepower, while Ford was originally saying 480, 500. So it's all across the board, guys. We're gonna have to wait to get the official word from Ford. And until then, all we can do is really speculate and work with what we've been given so far. So with that being said, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you guys want to see more Mustang content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button as well. That really helps my videos out and allows the channel to grow, reach more people, things like that. So thank you guys again, and hopefully a lot more S650 content coming up on this channel. So you guys have a great day. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye.